Hi there, welcome to the debut episode of the podcast From Girl to Great. I'm your host, Alana Kendall. In this first episode, I talked to Laurie McGraw. Laurie is the founder of the podcast Inspiring Women and a 30-year veteran of the healthcare industry. This episode and all episodes in this first season of my podcast were recorded at the Health Conference. That's HLTH, an annual conference held in Las Vegas that I was able to attend in October 2024. Laurie shared her career journey from studying at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island, to working at the intersection of technology and healthcare. One of my favourite parts of this conversation was hearing Laurie's advice for young women, especially about passion, hard work, and taking risks. Things I'm personally trying to work on myself. I also loved learning about her advocacy for gender equity and how her experiences as a woman in leadership have shaped her career. If you're curious to hear more about her journey, check out her podcast, Inspiring Women. I've linked it in the show notes. Now, without further ado, let's dive into this conversation with Laurie McGraw. Hello everyone, welcome to From Girl to Great. Laurie, will you please introduce yourself?
I certainly will. And Alana, I am so happy to be with you here today in this podcast booth at the Health Conference in Las Vegas. I'm Laurie McGraw, and I'm the founder and creator of Inspiring Women. I also am executive vice president of a company, Transcarent, which is a one place for health and care where we provide health benefits for large companies to small companies and everything in between.
Thank you. Laurie, will you tell me a bit about your education path?
My education path, well, I'm always learning, but where I started is I went to school at Brown University in Providence, Rhode Island in the way back machine. And since then, in my professional career, I've done a number of additional education types of things. I've been certified for board service. I've gone to the University of Chicago, sort of executive education types of things. I also did a program called Singularity University, which was all about the future of medicine, which was incredibly invigorating for me. So beyond college, one of the things that's been really helpful to me is continuing education in other things professionally. That's been really helpful.
That sounds really interesting. What skills or experiences do you think are most valuable for young women for their future success?
Alana, what skills do you think are most important for future success?
I think organization is very important, showing your commitment to something and having passion for what you're doing.
I think those are exceptional. I am a big believer in hard work. I'm a big believer in continuous learning. I am a big believer in sharpening your skills. And then I think there's some of those other things that I would like to see for younger girls and young women is more risk-taking in terms of what you do. And that comes from whether it's mentors or other things. But I really want to implore young women, young girls to be more comfortable with taking risks. And I say that because as women, we have long careers. We can try many different things, and there's a huge amount of impact for all of us to have.
As a healthcare executive, what are some of the challenges you have faced?
I would say as an executive, I'd love to tell you that everything is roses and unicorns and it's super easy. Challenges that I've faced have been some of the largest, most important learnings I've ever had in my career. Having to lay off people is one of the most difficult things that I have ever had to do in career. So in building companies, which is what I do now, I like to make sure that we do everything we can so that we're not in that situation. That's a big challenge. I've done things where I've put products out there that weren't ready to meet the needs of the market. So they fell flat or short of our expectations. Correcting that and looking at the hard facts in the face and then moving on. Those are some challenges that I faced, but I'll also say the hard things are what you learn from the most and you can build bigger and better from them.
How do you feel being a woman has shaped your career and your passion for what you do?
Well, it has shaped it a lot. I mean, so Alana, as you know, I lead the podcast Inspiring Women, and that's all about showcasing women. And the reason that I do it is because I feel that leadership is an incredible thing that women should be doing. We are excellent leaders, and there's not enough of us. And so I am striving every day to provide more gender equity or advance us towards more gender equity. And so as a woman, because I've been at many tables where I'm one of one or one of few women around leadership tables, that has influenced my desire to bring many more along with me. Because I know the capability is there. I know the smarts are there. I know that the skills are there.
That's really incredible. And if you could go back in time and give advice to your 17-year-old self, what would you say?
Well, I know these things are like just cliche, but I was less of a risk taker than I'd like to advise others to be. I think I could have taken more risks. I am a very confident person. That confidence was learned. And if I look back to positions that I was in earlier in my career, I think I could have been stronger in my conviction for what I was doing because I knew what I was doing. I did all the work. I did the research. I knew what I was doing. And if I felt that I had more confidence in those times, I could have had larger impact, gotten there faster. So those are the things that I look back on. And it's easy to say now in the rearview mirror when you're looking back, but that's what I wish for in others.
Would that advice change if you were advising a current 17-year-old self opposed to yourself when you were 17?
Today, for young girls, young women who are thinking about what they want to do in their lives, you don't have to make all the decisions now. There are so many different paths. I didn't realize this, but I think today young women know that things change. There are jobs that you are going to have, Alana, that might not exist today. We're here doing a podcast. When I was your age, that was not a thing. That wasn't even a word that existed. And yet here we're both doing that on a podcast. So I think just as I look to, young women like yourself, I'm just so hopeful. You are so sharp and accomplished. You're trying new things yourself. I mean, you started a podcast. You're 17. Oh my gosh, that's just incredible. And I think that really bodes well for the future.
Yeah, it's crazy to think about what will be available in the future for people my age.
Alana, when you think, I'm going to ask you a question. I know you're asking me questions. So what do you think about for the future? What are you looking forward to? Why are you interested in having this conversation?
I really hope that by the time I'm in my career, it will be very equal between men and women in all industries because we're still not there yet. And I know it's come a long way probably since I was even born. And I'm very excited about that. And I feel there needs to be a podcast out there to hear from people that are older than ourselves and how they're shaping the industry and how the potential for the industry now.
And Alana, do you have any doubts about who you are as a young woman in terms of your capability compared to anyone else? Do you feel like while you have awareness that there are inequities out there, do you feel that there's anything that will hold you back from achieving what you might set your sights on?
That's a tough question. It's quite daunting how stressful college admissions is because I'm going to be completing that next year. And all the systems are quite different because although I'm based in the UK, I'll probably be applying to the US as well. And that's quite daunting because I'm going to have to take the SAT and we'll have to see how that goes. And the acceptance rates are now really low, which is
Well, you said
stressful.
that you're one of the schools that you're going to be looking at is Brown University. That's my alma mater. Brown, if you're listening, here is an excellent candidate for you to be taking a good look at.
Thank you. What do you look for when you're hiring people?
Oh, I look for a lot of things. I look for how they show up. If I'm on a camera interview, I am looking for all those subtle cues of did they do their homework in terms of looking at whatever the job is that I am talking to them about. I want to know their background. I want to know not just the tried and true answers. We all know the perfect answers to standard interview questions, but I want them to tell me a story of how they did it, why it is different in terms of what they're doing, why it will be impactful in terms of the company that I'm interviewing them for. I want to see a little personality. I want to try and, see, is this a person that is going to fit in? And that doesn't mean that it has to be like they look like, all the same people that I work with, but people who are going to challenge ideas, not just yes people. Those are, like if, by the way, they're saying like, oh, all of this is great, and they don't have a good question, probing question to ask, then they're usually not the right candidate for me.
That sounds like really important advice. Can you tell me a bit about your own podcast show, Inspiring Women, and the inspiration behind that and what you've done with it?
I would love to. And so Inspiring Women is a weekly podcast series that I interview incredible women. I'm going to put this conversation out there, Alana. You're very inspiring. And I do it so that I can showcase the voices of leadership. What does it look like? It shows up differently for everyone. And my desire is that when people hear the lessons from others, they can see something that they might emulate themselves. I get so much feedback in terms of people who might have a challenge that they're dealing with in their professional environment, and they hear it in someone else, and then they have a way to go after it. Why am I doing it? I'm doing it for my own daughter, who is a young professional and doing really well because I don't feel like she needs to learn all the lessons of leadership the hard way. She can learn from others, and we're here to pave the path for her.
Definitely check that out. So, Laurie, thank you so much for taking time and being a guest on my show. The goal of the program is to help educate young women about what they can do to be successful in their future. Is there anything else that you want to share to young women on this show?
Just that it's important to listen to the voices of others, to believe in yourself. There is a lot to learn out there, but the impact that you all will have is incredible, important. Do it.
Thank you so much for listening to this first episode of From Girl to Great with Laurie McGraw. You can find everything Laurie and I discussed, such as links to her podcast, Inspiring Women, in the show notes. Remember to subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and check out fromgirltogreat.com for more episodes. Goodbye.